So just hopping on here to talk about another important topic, going based off of something that I saw at the bus stop today on my way to, it was on my way to my doctor's visit. I was doing a follow-up earlier for 8:30 this morning, so after I put my son on the school bus, around 7:30 this morning, I caught the bus on my way to the clinic to do my follow-up. Y'all forgive me if I sound like I'm out of breath and I'm having a few pause moments because I am hot. But anyway, so while I was on my way to my doctor's visit earlier this morning, I couldn't help but to notice a sign, a very huge sign at a bus stop that was close to my stop for me to get off at. And so the big sign was saying that syphilis is curable, and it had like a small container with the label penicillin on it with a needle. And so I couldn't help but to think about our children who are teenagers, who are in middle school and who are in high school. And so I just thought to myself about how much the world tries to groom our kids on every level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, visually, just on every level. And so I'm just like, okay, well, does the world, which I already know the answer to this, but I'm just speaking based off of what was being promoted on this sign. And so I'm just thinking to myself, now, is the world really concerned about making sure that our children's health is being handled with proper care? Or is this big sign just a money grab? And this is what I mean. Which, by the way, I understand that everything I'm saying is very forthcoming, but it's necessary. It's very necessary because we're living in times where our children are being targeted the most. Everybody is being targeted, but it's our children that's being targeted the most. And the world is not hiding that at all. This is not my first time seeing a sign like this, because I've even seen another sign at a bus stop that was promoting this medication called PrEP. And it's designed only to prevent a person from catching HIV, which means that PrEP, it won't stop people from catching other STDs, just HIV. They say it's 99% effective if taken as prescribed, which means that if you don't take this pill, say you have to take this pill once a day, if at any given moment you stop taking this PrEP pill, say like on day 7, then it decreases the effectiveness of this pill that's supposed to prevent you from catching HIV from somebody that is HIV positive. And so I just couldn't help but to think to myself about why is it that everywhere you turn, The world is not promoting prevention. They're promoting band-aids, putting band-aids on the situation. They're promoting what's treatable instead of what's preventable. I've never seen the world put up a sign about abstinence, because truth be told, abstinence is the only route that prevents cases like syphilis and HIV, gonorrhea, chlamydia. And I can honestly speak on it. Why? Because I'm a walking testimony. So it's a whole lot of truth behind this statement I just said. Abstinence is the only route that is 100% effective, and it's preventable. It promotes prevention. Why? Because when we teach our children to abstain from fornication, which is sex before marriage, we are actually helping our children learn how to be responsible with their bodies. We're teaching them how to respect their bodies as temples, because they are. For our children belong to our Heavenly Father, who is holy. Therefore, our children should view their bodies as sacred, because they are. For their bodies were designed by our Creator in order to create life. We create families from sex. Therefore, sex is sacred, and there's nothing casual about it. But yet, the world tries to groom our kids into having a casual type of view of sex. And that is the most dangerous thing that the world can do. What's even more dangerous is when us as parents allow our children to be groomed, to be raised, to be taught, and to be misled by the world. Now I'm going to just pause for a moment and just let everything I just said sink in for a lot of people that's viewing this video. This is coming from a mother of a 6-year-old who not only cares about the well-being of my child, but everyone else's child as well. I'm going to just give everybody a moment of silence to process everything I just said just now. Now, not only is abstinence preventable, as far as preventing our children from catching STDs, having to go to the clinic to take an STD test to see if their health hasn't been compromised, as well as they get to have peace of mind. So there you have it. Abstinence, it helps preserve their mental health, their physical health, their spiritual health. Our children don't have to worry about becoming or forming spiritual contracts with other people's children that are doing the same thing with a whole lot of people on rotation, which that is very detrimental, because what type of spirit are other people's kids are under? What type of influence are they under? What are they constantly feeding their minds and their hearts and their spirits on the daily? With that being said, there's so much power behind abstinence that a lot of our children needs to know. And I think that I think that the world does not care to promote abstinence to our children because they intentionally sabotage our children just in a subtle way. Because if they were to promote abstinence to our children, then that would mean that us as parents, we wouldn't be able to feed the world's greed financially with healthcare costs, whether it's through Medicaid, whether it's through, or if it's through direct payments. I mean, because when you think about it, the world thrives off of chaos and dysfunction and toxicity, also sickness. The world thrives off of our children being mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically sick. It's sad to say, but it's the truth. Abstinence would put a lot of clinics out of business. It really would. It would. If every single teenager of ours, even our children in middle school, were to practice abstinence tomorrow, it would definitely cause the money to go down dramatically for a lot of clinics. Because there would be no need for clinics to be used for that specific purpose, to treat STDs. If we were to promote to our children abstinence and the benefits of it. It's the only route that's 100% effective. It prevents having children out of wedlock. It prevents STDs. And I could talk about it because I'm a walking testimony. Not to go into detail because I don't have to, but to scratch the surface, I've been on both sides of the spectrum. Plus, I'm abstaining as we speak, so I could definitely speak on it. But this is why it's so important that us parents are actively involved in our children's lives. Because at the end of the day, it's not the world's responsibility. I am so hot, y'all. Don't laugh at me too hard. But anyways, at the end of the day, it is not the world's responsibility to make sure that our children grow up into responsible, healthy, respectable, productive, and functioning adults. That's our job as parents. And it takes a village. So I think it's best to not only restore the importance of parents being actively involved in their children's lives by having important conversations like this, but I also think it's important to also get the community involved as well, because it's not just the parents that have influence on their children's lives. It's also other people in the environment around our children when we're not in our children's presence. It could be influence through music, influence through movies, TV shows, influence through social media, influence through family members, influence through friends, other kids at school that they're not friends with. Influence comes in many different forms, and it's always there. So, yeah. The world is not going to, it's going to have our children lost. The world has no moral compass at all. So just off the strength of the fact that the world has a lost value system and lacks a moral compass, that's more of a reason for us to be actively involved in our children's lives. Think about it. Again, and I'm going to conclude this video so I can tend to my son and we can get some rest, because I have to get him on the school bus early in the morning, and I have to go do some more labs at the clinic tomorrow morning. So, but yeah, anyways, again, why, if the world truly cared about our children's well-being, why don't they promote abstinence? Why do they promote on posters and on pamphlets, in TV shows, on ads, commercials? Why do they promote what's treatable? Which just simply just means that they are promoting what's a temporary fix. Because yeah, sure, any of our kids, they may catch syphilis from fornicating when they're not mentally, emotionally, and spiritually mature to engage in that natural part of life that creates families. Yeah, sure, they can take penicillin to temporarily get rid of syphilis, but does that mean that they can't catch it again? What happens when they catch it again? Why not just teach our kids to avoid a situation like this completely by just abstaining, which means to not participate in sex at all until after marriage? That's the only safe route. There is no such thing as safe sex when it's outside of marriage. I'm sorry to break it to a lot of people and to a lot of our children, but our children need to hear this. There is no such thing as safe sex when it's outside of marriage. That's a lie. And I'm here to tell you, that's a lie. It is. I know because I've been on that side of the spectrum. There's no such thing. When you're having sex outside of marriage, you're gambling with your health on every level. And that is exactly what our kids do. They gamble with their health on every level. And then us as parents, when we allow our kids to gamble with their mental health, emotional health, physical health, and spiritual health, having unsafe sex, because that's actually what it is, then, or should I say, having sex outside of its original purpose, which is to create families, create healthy families inside of a marriage, inside of a sacred union. So when we allow our children to gamble with their health on every level by allowing them to have sex when they're not mentally, emotionally, and spiritually ready yet, and we basically are knowingly allowing them to play Russian roulette with their health, then that's when we should question ourselves as parents. How healthy are we? Truth be told, that just shows how unhealthy we are on the mental, emotional, and spiritual level. And that just shows how fearful we are as parents of doing the right thing by our children by having that sit down with them and letting them know that abstinence until marriage is the only safe route. The only safe route. And when we don't promote that to our teenagers, then that's when we should evaluate ourselves and ask ourselves, now, why is it that I'm so afraid to tell my child, no, not yet. Wait until after marriage, when you are old enough, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually mature enough to tap into that natural part of life that creates families. Because it's not that you can't tap into that natural part of life at all. It's just you're not ready. Because when we don't have that honest conversation with our children about them not being ready for sex and how they should abstain until after marriage, which is 100% effective and it's the safest route to take, then we are sabotaging our children's safety. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. That's exactly what we're doing. And I know that this harsh reality may upset some parents because I'm telling the truth, but I'm fine with that because it's time. It's time. It's time for us to stop allowing Satan to target our children at alarming rates the way he has been doing for a while now. It's time. He does not deserve our children. The world does not deserve our children. The world does not care about our children's well-being. The world just cares about what feeds their greed by exploiting our children's health, exploiting their minds, exploiting their hearts, exploiting their spirits and their bodies. Our kids are nothing but a product to them with a barcode attached to them. That's it. That's it. Only to be used until they can't be used no more. The world doesn't value human life at all. At all. So, but that's it for today. And as always, we've got to come together and protect our children on every level, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. Because like I mentioned in other videos, we don't just have child predators who try to prey on our children physically. We also have child predators that work day and night to prey on our children mentally through social media, through music, through books, through movies, through these signs at the bus stop saying that syphilis is curable with a whole container that says penicillin on it with a needle. Yeah. Same thing with our school clinics having condoms. In high schools. Thinking about it, wouldn't that not be low-key enticing our children to engage in sex before marriage? Wouldn't that not stimulate their curiosity? I'm just saying. But that's it for today, y'all. As always, like I said, it's time for us to come together as a village to protect our children on every level. Other than that, y'all have a peaceful night. Y'all will definitely be seeing